Without much delay, I would like to call Professor Amitava Ghosh, the head of the Department of Commerce, to kindly address the gathering. Over to you, Amitava, sir.
Honorable Executive Director of the Kalam Charity Trust, Mr. Pradeep Roy, Chief Executive Officer of the Heritage Group of Institutions, Mr. Pradeep Agarwal, Dr. Pushpita Ranjan Bhattacharya, Principal of the Heritage College, colleagues, guests, my dear students, and the esteemed speaker. Welcome to today's webinar by our distinguished speaker, CA Kaushik Ghosh. Thank you, Mr. Ghosh, for giving time and being here today. We are eagerly waiting to hear from you on a subject that is going to change our life, the way we do our work, and the future course of work. With the development of virtual reality devices, augmented reality will perhaps become a part of our life. More and more people may prefer to spend majority of their time in virtual spaces. Possibly we will all become virtual humans, living in virtual spaces. One day, it's possible that one could have breakfast at a Goan restaurant, followed by lunch at Everest Base Camp. Now the issue is, this is a kind of escapism from reality, but we cannot stop technology. We cannot stop technological progress. Technological progress has been the prime mover of human civilization during the last 1,000 years. Now, the issue is, can virtual escapism be ever used for good? Now, without further delay, I turn the time over to our speaker to hear from him the future pathways of virtual world, because we have very little knowledge of what is going to happen in this virtual world, how to connect the virtual world to the real world. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Once again, welcome to all of you.
A very good afternoon, all of you. Basically, we are shifting towards is the online mode of option. And during the COVID era, all the schools and the colleges are also closed. We can see the post-impact scenario also. We are going to have the online session. It will be the order of the day. And the more the gadgets, to play the pivotal role, particularly the laptop, might be the mobile, might be the smartphone. So it will be a paradigm shift from the classroom-based education to online-based education. So as the banking industry is concerned, banking industry largely digital, but not the 100% digital, but digitization is there. During the post-COVID, after post-COVID, particularly the banking industry, we are going to have that loan processing, tracking, and the recovery of the loan to be fully system driven. It signifies that it will be the more automation will take place so far as the banking industry is concerned. There will be the software to take care of the light from the loan processing and the tracking and the recovery of the loan. It will be fully system based. Digital KYC is going to have the new norms. Right now, so far as the digital KYC is concerned, that the know your customer in banking, when we are going to open up the bank account. So know your customer, we fill up the form, we just submit the pen copy and the other copy, all the Xerox copy and the sign it off. And we submit our photo also across the counter. Soon, post-COVID era, we are going to have, like it will be the digital KYC. You just apply the bank new opening up form in online, and it will be your database will be, that access from the database might be in Delhi. The Aadhaar card is already is done. So your database will be accessed from the database server, and it will be, if the matching is there, so it will be the digital KYC, or ultimately the no manual intervention is a call for. This will be the new era of the banking, so far as the banking industry is concerned. Now, this is a new gamble, the supply chain across the globe that is to be reconfigured. I was just going through an article, I found that Google and the Microsoft is going to shift their production, hardware production from the China. They are having their factory, that is a production, to be shifted to Vietnam and the Thailand for the cheap labor. So this supply chain, global supply chain, is a hugely impacted for this COVID. USA, even to diversify the supply chain keywords from the China, they might be contemplating to shifting towards the Vietnam, might be other Asian countries also. So this is a radical change in the so far as the supply chain is concerned. And this is the time to relocalize. This will be the main topic. This will be the main debate is ahead. So whether we have to localize, so far as the USA is concerned, like European countries, Italy and the France, might be our Asian countries, whether we have to produce locally, manufacture locally, and the service from might be from locally. So the local market is going to be the new business arena, I should say. Touchless world, the USA, Ford Motor, touchless world will be it is another game ball. So far as the say automobile industry, it is a fully automatic system driven in USA Ford Motor Company. It is a no manual involvement is there, and even the car painting is 100% car painted by the robot is used. Even the engineering aspects, the robots carry the parts and the fixes to the car body. So it's a fully the touchless world, you can say the contactless world, USA already in place. So we are going to have this type of change scenario in our country within the span of 2 years or 3 years or the 4 years is inevitable, and none can stop it. Even Ford Motor Company, the crashing test is done by the robot. The moment the car is manufactured, the robot is going to drive out the car within the factory premise and make a crashing just to find out the strength of the car. So everything, right from the manufacturing, right from the painting, right from the engineering part, right from the crashing test, everything done by the robot. So this robotic is going to play another new role in our lifestyle, the time ahead. China, we all know that this being the world hub, China is a manufacturing world hub. Across the country, they provide their manufactured items they produce. So this is called the world hub, and it's very difficult. So you must have read the articles. We are contemplating that whether China to be replaced, it is no easy game to replace China in this scenario. China is going to play the major role in so far as the global manufacturing is concerned. You don't believe that China even can produce 100 lakhs laptop in a single day. That is ordered by the Dell computer. 100 lakhs laptop can be manufactured even a single day by China. And that is not feasible for any country across the globe because of the cheap labor, cheap resources vis-a-vis Japan. The labor is concerned, Japan and the Korea is a very much labor expensive. So we might think, we might contemplate to replace China so far as a global manufacturing hub is not feasible. Now another paradigm shift so far as a work from home is concerned. So work from home really works. These are new normal, new mode of working. Business and the office in this scenario, work from home, will be no downtime. 24 hours might be the session will be there, might be the work will be there. So we are available online on any time. Physical distancing is another shift. So far as the office is concerned, in any institute is concerned, is almost 11 feet distance is called for between the two persons and the two peers, two subordinates, two students. De-urbanization is going to take place. We might that witness in the coming future that de-urbanization like tier 2 shift from Calcutta a bit, say 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers or 70 kilometers shift from Calcutta. We might see the tier 2, tier 3 city, it will come up. We will be looking for the more greener tomorrow. That is called the de-urbanization, and that is inevitable because our prime focus is on health. Meaning with society, digital, we have to leverage the digital pay, no doubt. So far as like we know that the Paytm, that day I was going through a session that Paytm is going to play the major role so far as the digital pay is concerned. Even the 5 years back, we could not think of that paying anything like electricity bill and the mobile bill and the school fee and the college fee and the any utility bill online. Now we are using our smartphone to pay off any obligation, any utility bill, anything rather. So it is going to play the major role, and this particularly the Paytm is concerned. And now I'm coming to that artificial intelligence. That being the phrase, that being the key phrase in this forthcoming scenario, post-COVID era, we'll find that that is used in the entertainment industry. Like we are now watching the movies online. We are watching the movies in Netflix. We are watching the movies on the Amazon Prime. Series of data, streaming of data service provided by this artificial intelligence. It being the software, it being the technical system or the modules, whatever you say, simple thing, it is going to be the replace, that is going to replaced by the, that the human intervention is called for. So it will be the artificial intelligence like flight. When you just board in the flight, the flight management system also the artificial intelligence is used. A pilot just put a very few minutes, just for just while taking off and just landing of the flight. So rest of the time entirely managed by the artificial system, artificial intelligence, that being the flight management system. Artificial intelligence will be used in our, might be that, while we play a smart game like chess, that will be used in a very have a way rather. Climate change, you will get stunned that 26,000 tons of daily plastic waste emission in our country. We are heading towards greener tomorrow. So we need carbon-free environment, might be in the factories, might be in our that ambience, might be in our that where you stay, in our environment. So we need to think of these uses of plastic and the low carbon emission and the days ahead that the waste management report, it is going to be the new norms. We have to submit that the waste management report across our country. We are going to be, our prime focus is going to be our health. So day ahead, so waste management report will be compulsory, like European countries. In European countries, they follow the carbon audit, and that is a mandatory. And that is the order of the day, and that is the need of the day. Our prime focus right now on health. Even how much water we consume, that will be the reportable ahead, day ahead. And that is going to be the order of the day. How much water we consume. Health, no doubt, the most emerging sector will be the health and the education in this COVID scenario. Health is the primary focus, no doubt, and virtual learning and the e-com is concerned. Definitely the Byju education, the stunning figure, the 9.6 million users already enrolled in the Byju education. There might be the pros and the cons in the virtual learning or online mode learning, whatever. But the thing is, gradually we are heading towards Latin America economy, we can say. Rural education, the question is, the moot point, in our rural area, almost 80 crore population is involved. How we are going to make the internet available? Even the Reliance, they are working hard day in and day out to just to serve the internet across the village, across the rural area. So this digitization is a major challenge for our country time ahead. Bandwidth, another concern is the bandwidth, net connectivity across the country. Even that the government of India announced electronic Pathshala, e-Pathshala. So many villages to provide the connectivity, to provide the internet, to provide that level of bandwidth is a challenging task before us. And we have to navigate the path. So far as the electronic e-commerce is concerned, we are going to, in near future, we are going to find out, we are going to see, we are going to witness the JioMart is going to control the metropolitan or wherever the main major cities grocery, they will be providing exactly the electronic groceries role. Even they are taking the orders and delivering through Big Basket and other channels, other logistics, the entire grocery part during this COVID era. So I would end up the session saying that the risks are greater, but the possibilities limitless. Thank you all.
Now I would like to proceed with the question answer session, as we have been receiving few questions during the session. I would request Dr. Debashish Modumjar, Head of the Department of Economics, the Heritage College, to put forward his question. Sir, if you can kindly put forward your question.
Thank you so much. Really nice to hear this fascinating lecture representing all aspects of the virtual world that we are will be facing within a short period. My question is simply that how can we reconcile the problems of surplus labor and distributive justice, as we observe in India, with that of the movement towards that new technology, as you have indicated, in terms of a paradigm shift? That means, how can you reconcile it? That means we have a problem of surplus labor. We have problems of inequality in the distribution of income and wealth. Do you think that with the emergence of this new technology, only a few farms within India and throughout the globe will have the capacity, we have that particular strength to command over the world economy, and in that case, the global asset, global wealth, as well as the local wealth, I should say, should be concentrated, likely to be concentrated in the hands of only a few. In that case, how can you address the problem of inequality in the distribution of income and wealth in India? Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. I would answer, like our population is 138 crores as a population. So far as the US is concerned, they are having the population of 34, 35 crores. And they are having the database of almost each and every citizen. Our mood concern, our prime concern is to build up the database first. We are having so many villages. Rural area, if you talk about the rural economy and the rural people, almost 80 crores that our agriculture in the GDP, so far as the GDP is concerned, they might be contributing little less. But I think the time ahead, few steps called for, that is to build up the database across the country, build up the database across all the citizens, even in rural area, so that we can identify that which labor is jobless. Exactly, to some extent, not to some extent, the USA, exactly the database is concerned, they can identify this man has become, this labor has become jobless, and we can provide the social security. In our country, to do the justice, we need to build up the database so that the moment we are unable to provide the employment to the labor, we can provide the social security type, we can provide the pension from the government part to that labor. So unless and until we are having the database, how many population across all the rural economy, all the villages, it is very difficult. And the way we are heading towards, I can share, the super is the real estate and the travel and the tourism. Their unemployment figure happens to be like more than 4 to 5 crores. So many unorganized sector labor. So it is very difficult, the way we are heading towards. Concern is this particularly labor from the unorganized sector, how we are going to provide the employment. And that is I have just removed one slide. I thinking that I won't be able to cover up, There was a slide in my presentation which I've removed. Vocal for local. We have to provide the job to the local people, so that the unemployment comes up. We have to think about the focus on the more agriculture. The urban agriculture is to be the the order of the day, so that we can provide the employment to the rural people. Unless and until you provide the employment to the rural people, almost 80 crore, it is very difficult to head for that. Like India will outperforming in future, rather we outperform China. It is very difficult to success. Success will come if we outperform the China.
Sir.
Just 1 minute, sir. Just 1 minute. I'm just coming back. So prime concern, that our prime focus should be agriculture and the urban agriculture, and it will be our MSME. MSME days ahead might be that it will be like they have to shift particularly the micro and the small medium is concerned, they need to land up the industry based on the agriculture. So my concern is, our concern is particularly to promote our agricultural side. We can feed the whole world. That is the game ball. That is the concern. So that should be the roadmap. Yes, sir.
Sir, only one thing. This is a nice answer, but what I think from your lecture is that you are emphasizing on gradual shift towards mechanization, artificial intelligence. And how can you provide more and more rural employment, which is labor intensive? Actually, you are arguing for a technology which is quite capital intensive. That is my first question, actually addendum. And the second one is that you were emphasizing on a proper database. Now, our recent experience indicates that the government of India, despite several organizations, for example, NSSO, they provide a good data regarding Indian unemployment, employment, rural production, etc. Wherever it goes against the interest of the government, they do not publish that particular data. So in a country like India, say if there is, say, reliable data, but if that goes against, this is a political issue. Actually, political economy is very much important. So if that goes against the interest of the government, they will not publish it. So what is the use of that data? If you have the data, yes, very good idea. You collect the data, but you do not use the data for the benefit of the people. That is my.
I agree with you, sir. Definitely, I agree with you. Our prime concern is definitely the labor from unorganized sector, no doubt. I just agree with you. So now is a challenging task before our country. You know, I think our prime focus should be the agriculture. You know, I think so. What my knowledge perception goes, 80% of the GDP comes from the agricultural side, or 16 to 18%. That figure, you know, that figure should be increased to at least 25% to 28%. In the days ahead, the service sector is going to provide 60% of the GDP. That is inevitable. And that agricultural side, agriculture is concerned, definitely the agriculture should provide at least 25%. We have to augment the capacity, no doubt. And our prime focus, definitely we are heading to a virtual world of the automation and the digitization. Days ahead, fine. But we cannot ignore the rural side at the same time. So the production level, we should augment. We should feed. I just reiterate, we should feed the entire globe. And we can do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
In the meanwhile, we'll go to our next question. We can see Sanchita Sharma, one of our students, have asked a question. Sanchita, can you please put forward your question?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone present here. First of all, sir, thank you for your valuable time. My question for you today is, in the face of disruptive technologies and the emergence of virtual world, a significant part of the service processes are likely to be automated by artificial intelligence and virtual agents. What, in your opinion, will be the impact of these changes on education and career pathways?
It is like, you know, it will be the paradigm shift. The artificial intelligence, blockchain, and the cyber security and the system development process, this will be the new arenas, you know, in the days ahead. Because you must have gone just 1 month back, the TCS, their strength is 5 lakhs. They suddenly have decided to change their mode of operation to work from home. The moment they have decided that we are heading towards work from home, they are the biggest software company in our country. You won't believe, the real estate sector, they took the rental, you know, that their building, office building, and the whatever huge area, the entire building, you know, that become useless. So they At the same time, it's a very leveraged time, it's a very trade-off time. We have to save the cost, saving of overhead at the same time, and at the same time, we have to provide the employment. So at the days ahead, we will find the more automation, even you will find the automated the cleaning machine is available. Days ahead might be the 2 years and the 3 years down the line within short time of frame. So, but as a commerce students are concerned, I would suggest just focus on, just figure out your passion and just frame out your goal and just put it to work and go for the like. You will find the advisory level of work like system development or the like the inbound outbound service, and the GST is another area, and the cyber security is another area. In the bank level, you can opt for the banking career also at the same time. But the thing is, the modus operandi, it might be that there will be the paradigm shift. You might go off to the 2 days in the bank, and the 4 days you can work from the home. You can service from the home. That is there. So far as the service industry is concerned, like telecommunication, banking, business process outsourcing, knowledge process outsourcing, and the call center, and like they say the MBA might be in finance, might be in system. So days ahead, definitely it will be the home will be the main focus point. Your home will be the main setup point. That day I was a session with the Reliance Vice President Rakesh Agarwal sir. He was discussing about the Python technology. Days ahead, you will be finding the new terminology in your career, that the Python technology. And might be we have to run ourselves through. You don't believe, like all the commerce students, all of you, like I can say, you know the GSTN, there's a software of GST portal, fine. The GSTN is a software. In income tax, we use another software. In custom, we use another software that is called the IceGate. Days ahead, we are going to integrate the GST software, income tax software, and the custom software. And our country will move ahead. I just recall Sir Amitav Ghosh and just started the day like saying that the technology is unstoppable. We cannot stop it. Artificial intelligence. I was just talking about the artificial intelligence. It will be used up, definitely. In the manufacturing side, you will find the robotics will come into the picture. In Taiwan, in any foreign countries, that entire, the airport level operations is done by the robotics. And the days ahead, and the COVID scenario might be the 2 years and the 3 years, and that is going to sustain. So there will be the shift. I was having a session with the Deloitte sir, Pierre Romes. He hinted, we might not be needing the Mercedes. We might not be needing the Maruti Suzuki. We might not be needing our personal car because we have to work from home. So what is the service industry is concerned? If you work in a manufacturing company, you might have to ask, they might ask you, they might require you 2 days. You come to the manufacturing site, you come to the office, and the 4 days you work from home. You will be that soon getting used to the new terminology, that the cloud-based system. All of you, the commerce graduate, you know the cloud-based system. You know the Tally. The days ahead, your data will be stored in a cloud. Cloud means is a private network. Is a virtual private network. You will be allotted the space in the cloud to store your data. Fine. So now the way we are using the Tally, so it will be shipped from the Tally will be cloud-based and already in operation, already in place. Time sharing. You'll be hearing another game ball is a time sharing. one resource is shared by the 10 players. You might be working for the 7 to 10. Somebody using the same Tally software, he will be working the 12 to 3. Just think, one software resource shared by 5 students, 5 fellows, 5 persons, from different time to time. That is called the cloud-based system. That is called the time sharing, and your data will be stored in the cloud. It is not that data will be stored in the hard disk. It is not that data will be stored in the Tally server. No, the game is over. Please.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you.
Now we'll move on to our next student. We have Manpreet Wadhwa. Manpreet had a question. Manpreet, can you please put in your question?
I am Manpreet Wadhwa from the Heritage College second year. I would like to ask that the growing presence of virtual world in our daily life, will it further divide the gap between the rich and the poor in respect of access to the livelihood opportunities?
Manpreet, gap will be minimized. So far as my perception is concerned, the gap will be minimized between the rich and the poor. The days ahead, I can hint you, like I can give you one reality. You might think, that say you are running a medium industry, MSME. You being the owner of that MSME, micro, small, medium enterprise. You being the medium player. You might be the boss, you might be the CEO, you might be the director of your company. The days ahead, to sustain, you might have to join hands with the MNC. And you become the, that assistant manager of that concern. You must have heard, take the real life situation, ITC and the Sunlight. The Sunlight is a private limited company. Recently, it has been taken over by the ITC. The boss of the owner of the Sunlight Private Limited, now he is going to be the manager in ITC. So this division is ahead. MNC will come into the havoc way in our country. They have resources, no doubt. They will play the major role. So the rich and the poor, the gap will be minimized to a certain extent. So far as my view is concerned.
Now we'll move on to our last question. That is by Essa Banerjee, one of our students again. Essa, can you please put forward your question?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Isha Banerjee from the Heritage College first year. My question is, what we learn today in engineering and ICT may become obsolete in the near future. This may render present generation learners unemployable in future job markets. What public actions are necessary to address these problems?
No, Isha, altogether is not that you are going, all of you, that you are going to just face the unemployment situation. It's not that. The thing is, the situation might demand you to learn something new, course, Even for myself, I could not believe in my career that at this time, during this COVID era, I am going to learn the machine learning and the artificial intelligence from National Institute of Technology, Warangal. And this is the order of the day. We have to upgrade. We have to upgrade our knowledge. We have to upgrade our wisdom. We have to upgrade our learning. So days ahead, just accept the challenges and make it into an opportunity. So you might have to seek for the new course. That's it. You might have to learn something new. Altogether, your learning cannot be scrapped. No, that cannot be happen over the night. So particularly in our country perspective, I can say it will take 4 years, 5 years, 6 years down the line. I was just reading an article like in USA that urban agriculture is there. You might be staying in the Calcutta and you were thinking the moment that the supply chain, your vegetables will come from might be from rural area, so you'll be able to buy the vegetables for your home. But the days ahead, 30 kilometers from your home, you will find a farmhouse will be there. It will be built up, and they will provide the local vegetables. There was a slide which I have deleted. It is the heading was vocal for local. It will be the local market, local employment, local bazaar, local urban agriculture. So entire supply chain, entire logistic. And the thing is, now is an open market economy. Your knowledge can be shared to anyone across the barrier, across the country barrier. You can share your knowledge to USA. Say you are an engineering student, fine. So your domain knowledge will be shared to the USA, and they will remit your free online. So sharing the knowledge, this is a virtual learning. You can share your knowledge and you will be remitted online. So it's an open market, no border. Across the globe, entire globe is your market. And think positive and inject the positive vibes. Fine. Thank you. Okay, Isha. Go on, carry on.
Thank you so much. Now I would proceed with the formal vote of thanks ceremony. I would request Professor Dipanjan Basu to kindly address the formal vote of thanks. Dipanjan, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my proud privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on the behalf of the Commerce Department, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the honorable delegates who blessed us with their presence and took valuable time off your busy schedule. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Mr. Kaushik Ghosh for his erudite and enlightening speech. I'm grateful to our Executive Director, Mr. Prabir Roy, and our CEO, Mr. Pradeep Agarwal, for giving us an opportunity to organize this sort of event. I also wish to express my gratitude to our Principal Sir, Dr. Pushpita Ranjan Bhattacharya, for his encouragement and support. I would like to extend a special thanks to the HOD of Commerce, Professor Amitabh Ghosh, and the HOD of Economics, Professor Debashish Majumdar, for motivating us. As no program can become successful with a single person, so I extend a big thanks to our Commerce Department and Shuhashini Madam for their support, and all our volunteers too. Thank you everyone for making this event a successful one with all of your contributions.